We're here with the lovely Mia Staples from Amazon. Thank you for joining us. And
Yeah.
right now, she's talking about the difference between pitching to someone and building a true partnership, and
Mhm.
why does that difference matter so much for how to grow?
Yeah, so just a rewind and we'll pick it back up.
Oh, we
So,
done now. It's good. I feel like it's
yeah,
good.
no, it's okay. So, pitches are more transfers. So, we're thinking about my analogy of baseball. You pitch, someone catches. You're not necessarily throwing it back and forth. You're just trying to move something from your hands to their hands. Whereas a partnership is true architecture. So, you're designing something that neither of you could truly build alone. And the difference in outcomes is pretty vast. So when you pitch, you're just optimizing for a yes. You want to get to what you are there for, whether that's funding or some sort of resource. And when you build for a partnership, you're really optimizing for what happens after the room. So typically, when you're pitching, that's generally the decision maker. It may not be who is actually implementing the partnership. So you're thinking about what happens after for partnerships. So one is really transactional, the other is very structural. And structural relationships are what hold weight. Those are things that scale. They survive personnel changes, they survive market shifts, they survive hard conversations. So pitches may get you indoors, but partnerships are what give you that long-term value, what keeps the relationship year over year or activation after activation.
Okay. I just learned something. Uh, so you don't want to leave the room with if you can't get the money, the funding that you're initially pitching for, which is probably what everybody is going to be replaying this
Mhm.
and watching and logging on. They're trying to pitch their businesses and brands and activations to people. So you don't want to leave with a no. So you want to create that yes in terms of a partnership so you can build that side of it to keep it going.
Yeah, so you want to work towards a yes sometimes. Sometimes the yes isn't right now, whether that is it lacks value alignment, whether it's timing, it can be a multitude of reasons. So you want to align yourself, position yourself for the yes, for your reoccurring resources. So maybe sometimes you just need to get to know the organization a little bit better. Maybe you need to understand where they're going. It may not be where they are today, but a true partnership is aligning for today and tomorrow. So you need to know where they are today. How does that translate in tomorrow? How is that mutually beneficial? What's the ROI? What's the return on investment for both parties? It's not just a you thing, it's a we thing.
We think, all right, all right. I
Yeah.
can feel that. Most entrepreneurs, like myself, default to pitching because that is what they are taught. What
Mhm.
is wrong with a pitch first approach, and what does it cost you in the long run by choosing to pitch first?
Yeah, so I think this is a great I think, kind of segue from the last question. So the pitch first approach, it trains you to lead with your ask instead of your value. It really puts the other party in, let's think like evaluation mode from the jump. So you're already behind. The deeper cost is relational. So pitching is extractive by design. It positions you as someone who needs something from someone else.
Uh-huh.
So in that framing, it will follow you. It really shapes how the relationship forms. And that's if it forms at all. So the
All right.
long run cause is that you build a network of gatekeepers instead of a network of partners. So you're always auditioning. You never really get to the table where real decisions are made. And the deals that you do close, they're going to tend to be smaller because of the power dynamic that was set wrong from the start.
Okay. So as somebody who in that role, like you never really think about it from the other end, and I'm honored to be talking to the person from the other end. Are you like annoyed? Or are you bothered by a pitch first type of mindset versus a let's just talk and see where things align and we can build a partnership versus the pitch first?
No, never annoyed. More want people to think about true value alignment, to opportunity alignment, and listening. So, asking deeper questions. I think more people should spend more time in discovery before they pitch, understanding what am I even working on? Because there's only so much that you can extract from your research, from what you know thus far. There's probably tons of initiatives that I'm working on behind the scenes that don't make it to any public platform. That's just like on a need to know basis. So people that ask more questions like, what are you working on? What is valuable to you? What goals are you working towards? Like, what are blockers that you're having? A lot of times you can position your activation, your organization, yourself in those different intersections and find mutually agreed upon value. Because if you're looking to pitch me, I know you need something, but it's more
Yeah.
so how can we create value together so we both can win in this situation?
So would all of that wrapped in a bow be considered the discovery mode that you said
Mhm.
that people should start in?
Yeah.
Uh,
Spend more
that's
time in discovery.
that's awesome. Uh, as someone like yourself who has worked inside one of the largest companies in the world at Amazon and also run businesses of your own, what do you see from both sides of the table when
Yeah.
it comes to how partnerships actually gets formed?
Yes, both sides. Been on both sides, still exist on both sides. Inside of one of the largest companies in the world, I feel like a lot of people just start, like we just talked about, with formal pitching, not necessarily trying to gain a champion, which would be me internally for their idea. So someone I can be like their person that's building a case for them before they get in the room because again, I know what's going on behind the scenes. So a lot of people think like, how can I pitch Amazon? I'm always like, it's not how you pitch Amazon or how you pitch them well. It's how do I become the type of business person, operator, or activation that the internal champions, like myself, because it's beyond myself too, want to put their name behind. So that means like, is your track record legible? Do we have a clear strategic angle? Do we make it easy for all of the stakeholders at the table to say yes? And then from the other side, like as the pitchee, essentially, a lot of things that I see are founders get very hyper focused on outcomes that they want, that they don't do the work of understanding what the other side actually needs. Partnership is a two-directional value proposition. So if you're only articulating in one direction, that's pitch, that is not a partnership.
Oh wow. Tell you, this this webinar is gonna go double platinum. uh, in terms of that though, how do you shift your mindset? Because again, like you're on both sides, and this is
Yeah.
not a question that's on your list. So, but
Mhm.
and as a founder though, you technically have to always be worried about the outcome.
Mhm.
What would you suggest a founder do to not necessarily think about the outcome, but more so on the side of what is in this situation Amazon is
Mhm.
looking for in terms of a partner? Where would be their first step in even before even coming to you or getting your email? What would be the first step in their discovery mode when they find when they trying to, because me myself, I would suggest even figuring out what kind of events that y'all
Mhm.
would partner with in the first place. Like, what do y'all look for in a community event or activation or whatever
Yeah.
they mention uh, in that terms?
Yeah, those are all great questions, to be quite frank. And it's like getting to know the person. I mean, do your research. I think that's like number one. A lot of people, especially in today's society, you can find someone that's leaving a breadcrumb. Like, I went to this event or I'm working on this here. We tend to leave breadcrumbs no matter what. It's like find a breadcrumb, like ask good questions. Do not send me a generic pitch. Like, I probably won't answer, to be quite frank. But if you're like, hey, I can even see, like, I saw Amazon was working on X. Even if it's not my part of the business, I'm like, you know what? Let me find someone who may be better suited to help you. Get you another internal champion. Try to connect the dots for you. If you're able to articulate the why, like, this can be beneficial for you because of X, not oh, like I think this would be really valuable for Amazon, but you actually never articulate what is valuable about it, I'm like, okay, then it's not really valuable for me. And if I can't articulate, like if you can't articulate to me, what am I to articulate to the other stakeholders there?
As the champion.
As the champion. I have nothing to champion. So that it will begin and die right there. Like you have to be able to provide some sort of articulation around what is the value, something to work with. And then from there it can be like, oh, you know what? I kind of like how you position it, but let's think about it like this. Have you thought about it like this? Is that even a part of your wheelhouse? Is that something that you're even looking to do before we move on to trying to get to convince essentially other people to champion this idea as well?
I feel like your workshop, we're gonna need a part two because it's so much. Like I know my audience itself are the pitchers. They're like
Yes.
they have the business, they go out to within the community and they pitch.
Yeah.
So I'm what you're saying is like the meat and potatoes to
Yeah.
what people like me needs. But how do you know when a potential relationship is worth pursuing as a true strategic partnership versus when it's just a transaction that you, like you just said, like, oh, I'm gonna open and close that. Like, nah, you ain't really structured that the way it needs to be structured. It's a
Yeah.
whole bitch dressed up to like when you want to pursue.
Yeah, so for me, I tend to ask myself one question, like if this deal went away tomorrow, would I still want to maintain this relationship? So if the answer is yes, I think that's the foundation of a true partnership. If the answer is no, then that's just a transaction, like with partnership branding around it. Another signal that I look for, again, is whether the other party can articulate what they bring beyond the deliverable. So can they speak to our collective mission? Do they understand our collective community? Because there are sub communities, micro communities, there's tons of intersectionality that exists amongst the businesses. So are they thinking about how does this work for myself long term or just what works for right now? And if they can't answer any of those questions, then again, that's not a partnership. That's just somebody who's looking to buy something or receive something. And so buyers, in its case, buyers will be the person that is funding the pitcher will tend to move on,
Yeah.
when the need changes. Or what a lot of people don't even think about is also we can move on if the partnership isn't producing what we expected. So a lot of contractual language also ties it to an outcome. So if we're not getting those outcomes, we have every right to end that partnership.
Oh, yeah, 100%. Because even like I feel like we run partner and collaboration gets thrown around
Oh.
and a little too often. Uh,
Hmm.
I myself have curated brands that reach millions of people. Um, when it comes to most collaboration for me, that's not financial. It's like I'm really just helping somebody. It's not really like I'm getting everything I need. So it's more so like if I don't structure the partnership and collaboration in a way that I receive something, it gets
Yeah.
tiring always showing up for these people and
Yes.
we're not getting nothing back in terms of whatever brand they're collaborating with for myself.
Yeah.
Uh, and I feel like a lot of business owners, specifically here in DC, the DMV area, when they think about the partnerships they collab, they spend too much time on what they can get. Like
Yes.
the whole point of
And
the
not what they can
collaboration,
give.
you coming to me. Like if you coming to me, it should be a bullet point list of okay, you get this, or you could sign members could sign up for here for your nonprofit.
Yeah.
Like just bullet points of what we can exchange. It's an exchange of energy. We exchange of
It's
business resources.
important.
I'm all about community, but don't make it seem like it's a one-way collaboration.
Yeah, I think people forget, like, think of partnerships like dating. You wouldn't want to be with someone who's only taking things from you.
Yes. Oh
Even,
my God.
even, yeah, even financially from the bank. Like when you have a business and you take out a loan or any type, you have to give your money back. So it's people forget, they get lost sometimes in the sauce. Like I just need a pitch for $5,000, $10,000 or what, or a logo to get the reach or get the notoriety that I need, but they forget about adding value back. And that is why a lot of people only have one-off partners. You would have so many more multi-year deals, multi-activation deals if there was regenerative value.
And that's probably going to be a good question later on. But I myself have recently, in the past few years, learned about the multi-year deal partners,
Mhm.
just to get in the person who just won a table for this one event.
Yep.
And that is important for all those who are listening, especially in this climate where people are running away from DEI events and DEI
Mhm.
uh, signing contracts for multi-year deals is way more beneficial than that one check for $2,000 or $5,000. Make
Mhm.
sure you get them for the long run. And I'm not a professional like Mia, but I'm actually in the space, and these things are happening to me in real time. uh, but before you can build a great partnership, you have to attract one. Be an attractive brand, like you said, have the metrics, have the things behind it. What does it take to position yourself and your brand so that the right partners come to you instead of you always chasing after them?
Yes, I think you just have to be clear about what you're building before anyone else can decide if they want to build for you. And I know that sounds obvious. A lot of people think that they're doing it, but they aren't. What I most often see is businesses, people, founders who are clear on what they do, but not why their ecosystem or community matters. And partners, we're not just buying a product or service, we're buying a network, a community, a direction. So if you can't articulate what world you're building and why that world is worth being a part of, you will keep chasing partners instead of attracting them. So clarity of vision is positioning, and it does the work for you before you even open your mouth.
And I like the correlation you made between partnerships and sponsorships and dating because it's literally like you got the court. I am
Yes, you got
learning.
to
I am learning right now as we currently speak the amount of energy it takes to court people. Every
Mhm.
week you got follow up emails, push this conversation, that
Yes,
conversation, this meeting, literally courting.
yes.
And
You have
just
to
to,
court.
just to cultivate that partnership, and it's a task. You can't just, hey, let's go get a drink and we
No,
get married the next day. Nah, it's taking. I like that correlation. I'm gonna steal that. I'm letting you know
steal it.
now.
Steal it. It's fine. Steal it.
But you're a marketer at the core. How does
Mhm.
marketing yourself and your mission differently open doors to partnerships and pitching alone that never would?
I mean, we see marketing every day. Marketing is building belief before the ask, and that's the whole game. So you can apply this to anything. So when your content, your presence, and your public thinking is aligned with the problem you're solving or the community you serve, the right people, I call it self-selection, they'll self-select, opt in into your orbit. So I've had major partnership conversations start because someone read something I wrote, they heard me speak and thought, this person sees what I see, or I really liked like what you said here. And that's not pitching, I call it the pull. So instead of a push, it's a pull. And pulls are exponentially more efficient than pushing me into saying like, oh, I think this is why you should fund this, or we should partner with you. And you can't, I say this all the time, every time I speak, you cannot distribute your way out of a trust deficit. But if you're consistently showing up with a clear point of view and real value, that's when you build the kind of credibility that makes people want to find you.
Oh man, gems. Um, what role does your personal brand though? Because you got a couple different things going on. What role does your personal brand play in attracting strategic partners, and how do you build a personal brand that signals you are ready for partnership?
Yeah, I think this is almost essentially the same as the last question. It's your personal brand is proof of concept before anyone sees your deck. Like that is it's your position, it's your track record. It just tells a consistent story of what we're looking for. And I know in today's society, it can be kind of like fearful to have a strong position on a lot of things because you don't want to close any doors. But what I'm
Right.
telling you is having a strong clear position because you can't be everything to everybody. You can't do everything for everyone. Having a clear position opens the right doors, and that is how you translate into long-term partnership value.
Okay. And you got to stand on business.
Stand on it.
You got to stand on it. And this
Stand
is
on
your
it.
goal, and
Hmm.
this is your purpose. These
Yes.
are your steps to success. Don't
Yes.
go back on it. I've met with people that in the recent years said maybe I should change the brand name of Melanincon uh, to
Yes.
be more accepted in all communities versus my
Mhm.
own. I ain't really want that. I just pitched to somebody else. We can keep going.
Yeah. Because the thing is, business direction changes. Business direction shifts for your partners. So if you are changing yourself and your business at the whims of everyone else, then you don't know who you are. So what am I investing in?
Again, it goes back to your analogy about comparing partnerships to dating.
Mhm.
If you always switching yourself for every partner, how can you ever get married? How can
Yeah.
you nurture that relationship if you this person with this person, you this person with that
Yeah.
person?
We don't know who you
Eventually,
are.
you're gonna crash out. If you
Yeah.
always changing your business, what is your business?
What is your business? We don't know.
We don't know because you don't
We
know.
don't know.
But the next question is for somebody that's trying to pitch
Mhm.
or even already pitching, how do you suggest they even go about getting into these spaces and these rooms to uh, start these conversations, let alone the pitch?
Yeah, I would say access. Access is unequally distributed. Networks aren't neutral. Definitely spend more time cultivating relationships, spend more time getting to know people that are there. I would say for pitchies, like if you see an event for a target sponsor or a target partner, try to go there, try to figure out who was their point of contact. If you know the person that's putting it on, ask questions like, how did you position yourself? How did you do that? There's tons of events. There's tons of ways to find one person. All you need is one link to the network, and you'll be able to find the next step. It's one step at a time. Sometimes you have to take a step back, not think about where you want to end up at, just think about the next step and positioning yourself accordingly.
And again, I'm not a pitch professional as
You are.
yourself, but in these recent weeks, I've been seeing success about personally
Mhm.
um being intentional about the connection. So
Mhm.
uh, let's say it's a person that I'm trying to pitch to. I'm great at CRM systems. CRM systems are
Mhm.
systems that you can utilize if you know the person's position and their company to uh, find their email or somebody start a company's email. With the
Mhm.
right research, you can find the right people, but then it would look like a cold email. So I go the extra mile following that person on LinkedIn,
Yeah.
following that person on Instagram, liking posts, interacting with posts. And then
Yeah.
after they start interacting back, then I go in because I
Yes.
already got an email to for a pitch because they
Yeah.
already brought to my network. And in this recent month with my recent event that's coming up, that has been very successful for me. I haven't got a full yes yet, but I'm actually getting the meetings versus
Yes.
people just overlooking my emails. So I
Yeah.
would suggest as being intentional about the connection. If y'all trying to pitch to me, Amazon, they have tons of free networking events. Go to one. There's a
Fun.
conference coming up on STEM. Go to
Yes.
it.
Ben
Actually
D&B.
find out, hey, who runs this event? Like who do this? Who do that? And actually meet the person in charge. I did that just yesterday with Made in DC. Just pulled
Yes.
up to the event. Who's the person in charge? Oh, Jessica. Oh, please introduce me to Jessica.
Yes.
And you people are more likely to respect what you're doing, even if they can't
Yes.
help at that time. People are more likely to grow with you and
Yes.
actually tap in to see what you got going on. That's from my perspective as somebody who's on
Yes.
the other side of me. But
I'm on both
that has
sides.
been very successful for me recently.
Yeah.
Do you got a counter to that?
No, I agree. I wholeheartedly agree with everything that you say.
So I'm on the right path then. I'm gonna keep it
Yes.
up. But once you get a yes on a partnership, that's when the real work begins. I promise.
Mhm.
What
Mhm.
does it take to structure a partnership that creates genuine mutual benefit and doesn't fall apart after the honeymoon phase?
Yes. So the honeymoon phase ends the moment the first conflict appears. I want to be clear, it does not matter how much due diligence you do at the start, something will happen at some point. And what determines whether the partnership survives that moment is whether you built the structure before you got there. So that means having very explicit conversations about expectation, decision rights, what happens when things don't go as planned. Spend as much time as you can on risk mitigation so that you're looking around corners, trying to predict what may happen, predict if a scenario will happen, what will we do in that scenario. Most people skip those conversations just because they don't want to introduce friction early. I can say at Amazon, we spend a lot of time on risk mitigation. We spend more time on risk mitigation, like what will happen if everything goes wrong. But it makes for really valuable partnerships because then you're prepared for a lot. And the friction you avoid at the beginning, that becomes the fracture that you can't repair later. So you need to structure those agreements up front, name the asymmetries, decide how you'll handle misalignment. So a partnership with clear structure is not less trusting. That is what makes it more durable beyond the honeymoon phase.
Oh, so for those who don't know what asymmetrical and things like that, can
Yes.
you further explain?
Lopsided.
Okay.
Yes, if it's lopsided, misaligned.
One-sided.
Yes.
Uh, as a philanthropist, you understand that some of the most powerful partnerships are not purely transactional, as we spoke about earlier.
Yeah.
How do you build partnerships that are rooted in shared values and mission alignment?
Yeah, so values have to be more than the language that we're speaking. I have seen partnerships with the most beautiful mission statements collapse because neither party actually lived those values when it cost them something. Real alignment, that shows up in the trade-offs. So does your potential partner make hard decisions the same way you do? When there is tension between profit and principle, which one wins? So when community impact and efficiency are in conflict, which one do you choose? I tend to ask these questions early and listen for the answers and how they describe past decisions, not just how they describe their mission, because behavior under pressure will be your clearest signal on how the partnership will proceed.
Oh, and that brings me to my next question. It was super
Ooh,
important. Uh,
yes.
uh, what, in terms of the ecosystem, though, what does a full partnership ecosystem look like for growing a business, and how do you build one intentionally rather than just stumbling upon into random collaborations? Good
Okay.
discernment.
Yeah. So I'd say think of it in four layers and do like kind of gut checks with yourself at each one. So operational partners extend your capacity, and operational partners mean like when you're growing something, you need somebody beyond just like money. Like I need to be beyond just putting a check in my account. Like we're actually doing some real work together. So you can ask starting with like, what am I doing right now that someone else could do better or faster so that you can focus on what only you can do. Strategic partners help expand your access and credibility in that arena. So that's like layer one. It's like,
Okay.
how can I move faster? How can I move better? And finding a partner that can help me do that. The next layer is like, who, if they publicly sit beside me, like, how can they change the right rooms to perceive what I'm building? That's like a community partner. Those help keep you connected to the people you serve. So that's a different layer, different type of partnership, different layer. Then you can ask, like, am I still hearing directly from my community or now am I too far removed from them? That's like capital partners. They help you resource your vision. So as you're thinking about growing, now you're hitting scale. So it's like, now, am I still scaling? Does my community still hear from me? Do I need someone to help me fund keeping like connection to what I have going on? Then you can ask yourself, like this is the final layer is, do the people funding me understand the ecosystem I'm building in, or are they just betting on a metric? And that's like beyond scale. That like generally helps you figure out where you're going to land because depending on how you're growing, how you're like how you're building your business, you might grow your business to be sustainable. You might grow it to be sold. There's tons of options, tons of avenues that you can take. But for that final question, it's really important because if you cannot answer all four of those questions very clearly, you will have gaps in your full partnership ecosystem, and that will cause you to randomly enter into collaborations that may not give you direction.
Oh my God. Oh, please, you listen to this on the playback. That was a bar. Right now, all those four things. Because that sounds like a difference between getting a partner and not getting a partner, keeping
Yeah.
a partner for years to come versus the one off. Like that's amazing. Uh sidebar, uh uh talking to people that are genuinely in their field and can give genuinely facts and resources for
Mhm.
our community is very important to us. And every time, like you all that has been on my panel speak, it has been very re-energizing to know that the people that's playing it back is getting real deal information that they could take to Google, Claude, and Chat
Yeah,
GPT
all of them.
get their life together. Because I can see I'm going tomorrow to put those four things in to make sure I'm operating to Mia's standards.
No, not mine.
uh, but what is the relationship between partnerships and community impact? Because the best partnerships you seem to attract are the ones that go beyond profit and actually transform into something. Like you've been saying this whole
Yeah,
webinar about the long-term collaboration and actually both sides having a benefit to the
yeah.
partnerships.
So the most impactful partnerships that I've been a part of, and it's also my personal philosophy, they're designed around profit not being first. So they're designed around a community problem that neither party could solve alone. Profit may be an outcome, and to be quite frank, more than likely is, but it's not the organizing logic. And what I found is that when you center some sort of community around it, and community can mean anything, there's tons of different ways and definitions that we can utilize for that. But when you center community in the partnership design, you create a different kind of accountability. So that community, that becomes your North Star, and that truly changes the conversations you're willing to have. It changes the terms you're willing to walk away from, and that changes the timelines you're willing to hold. Culture, why I say cultural conversion, it's an infrastructure to me. And community trust, that is what makes business works. It's not a marketing asset, it is structural. And partnerships that do not understand that, they tend to not survive the communities they claim to serve because their communities can move. Culture shifts, culture moves, and if you do not serve a community, you're always going to be trying to find who are you looking to serve if you have anyone to serve.
That sound like that person that go viral for doing
2 seconds.
something dumb when
Yes,
they built the whole, let's say they built the brand on cooking and then they
yes,
randomly do something dumb and that goes viral more than the cooking videos. So now they're constantly chasing the views
yeah.
from that video. And again, like you said, and we said earlier, you don't have brand identity at that
You
point.
don't
So
have
how can you
the-
position yourself for a partner?
Yeah,
Even to Amazon scale, if you don't even have the basic foundation
yeah,
of the brand that you said that you had.
yeah.
uh, Important. But for someone who has been doing every single thing alone
Yes.
and is ready to start scaling through partnerships, what mindset shift has to happen first before any other strategy work is done?
Yes, I think we hit on it earlier, but you have to stop thinking of partnerships as a growth tactic and really think of it as like infrastructure or foundational design. A tactic is just something you deploy when you need it. But having that foundational design, that's something you build continuously, whether or not you may need it right now. It changes how you show up at events. It changes what you share publicly. It changes what you ask for in every room and what you give, keyword, without being asked. And the founders who scale through partnerships, they're not the ones who are the best at pitching when the time comes. They're the ones who have been building those reciprocal relationships for years before they needed to call in a favor. And you just can't manufacture that kind of capital. You have to compound it over time.
Okay. Y'all heard me. So the next three questions are our rapid questions.
Yes.
Feel free to
Yeah.
answer how you feel, see fit.
Okay.
What's one thing every entrepreneur needs to have in place before even approaching a potential partner?
A clear point of view on the problem, not just the
Ah,
solution.
ah, a clear point of view of the problem and not just the solution.
Yes.
Make sure y'all play that back. What's the best advice that you have received about building relationships in business?
Yes, give before you need to ask and be specific about what you give, not just how can I support you, not just generic encouragement or a LinkedIn comment. Like give a warm introduction, a piece of like advice or intelligence these days that saves some time, a connection that opens doors for someone. For me, some of the best things I've ever done is I learn what people are working on and I'm like, oh, whatever arena you're in, I know someone in that arena. I think you guys, let me connect you to them right now. And
I'm
then
the
later
same way.
on, yeah, they do the same thing. Or I'm like, oh, that interests you. I came across this. Here you go. It doesn't matter what it is, but always be willing to give and people will reciprocate.
It's interesting on that specific topic. The first Melanincon was built on me taking the initiative 3, 4 times out of the month, going on Eventbrite and going to random networking events that had nothing
Yes.
to do with what I do in life. I'm in real estate events. I'm in beauty events, makeup. I'm in STEM. I'm in everything. And my first Melacon had 700 people,
Yes.
and it was all these people that I met in all these different fields that had nothing to do with me. So
Yes.
I would double down on everything you just said because that is very important. Uh, the last resource would be what is one book, was one resource, was one tool in terms of partnership would
Mhm.
you suggest somebody that's I would say intermediate out in pitching should have or read?
Okay, and first, we're not going to get over the first Melanincon with 700 people. Okay, that is a feat, so we'll applaud that. And then in terms of resources and books, there are two books that I can think of. So one is Never Split the Difference by Chris Voss. It's a non-traditional pick. It's actually a negotiation book. He used to be a hostage negotiator for the FBI, but truly, truly helps you reframe your thoughts around negotiation and pitching, how you structure questions, how you even think about this question will lead me to this answer, and then based upon this answer, that'll give me a breadcrumb to ask my next question. Really phenomenal book that can help shift your mindset on how you go about discovery and discovering things and understanding people's true motives. Another one I would recommend is The Partnership Charter by David Gage. It is a book most people may not have heard of, but it really talks about why most partnerships fail. And it really walks through a lot of the things that we discussed today. And then if there's any additional, maybe a free resource, would just be Harvard's program on negotiation. It's online, it's free, it has a practitioner guide, and it really helps you think about value creation in terms of building deals.
Y'all better write that down. Better write it down. I did. Uh, for someone in the audience who has been pitching endlessly and not getting traction, what is the one thing you would tell them to do differently starting tomorrow?
Stop leading with what you need and start leading with what you notice. So pick someone, an organization, anyone, maybe someone that you know or in your target ecosystem. Send them a note about a gap that you see, a trend that you're watching, or something that you think would benefit them. No ask involved, just genuine intelligence. see what happens. A lot of the times, you never know what can stem from that conversation. Even for myself, I actually tend to respond to more people that just send me notes about they came across my Substack and they're like, "Oh, I really like this thing that you said there. I thought why?" And then we just start chatting about it because I'm like, "Oh, I really like, oh, I thought it was cool because I wrote it, but the fact that you think it's cool too, and we can have a conversation about it makes it that much more fun."
Oh man, that's amazing. That's actually a good point because one of the problems that I noticed last year at the Melanincon and the back end stuff that we deal with the new DI initiatives and
Yeah,
losing money because of that. I researched online, like through my threads and my Twitter, what
yeah.
people thought of conferences, and a lot of people thought process was they pay all this money to still be in the same place. Uh,
Hmm.
People are motivation out. It's cool that this person
Yeah,
have been successful and done all these things, but what tool do you use to get to those things?
yeah,
What are some steps I can take to get the way you are? Not me just listening to,
yeah.
yeah, I made it. And people was tired of that paying all that money. So I took a bold leap, a bold step to create the webinar series, making Melancon free, because the community impact of it, I feel, is a game shaker. I feel like it's a wrench in the pond that's going to shake some things up in terms of how other conferences view how they give information, how they even charge people to come to these things.
Yeah,
Because if a person go to your event, they pay the $1,500 to come to your event every single year, still in the same job, still in the same role.
you didn't go
Is
nowhere.
your event worth it? Like, who's getting rich off this event if it's not the community? So that's why we made our big shift this year when it comes to Melacon to have it all year long versus the one weekend where people can replay it back. It's on Wix, so it's not even on a platform where we can generate revenue. So it's literally about the people. So I appreciate what you just said. But what does Melacon to you as someone has accomplished and dedicated her career to converting culture and creating alignment between communities and the institutions that they serve? What does Melacon mean to you?
Yeah, so for me, this is exactly what I believe in personally for all the reasons that you said. Like, I'm a type of person who believes my legacy will be built upon how many people I impacted. So I love aligning myself with bodies of work, organizations, people who think the same thing in spaces that are built by and for communities that have historically had to fight to be in the room. So this doesn't just represent this moment right now, it's a proof point. And it, for me, it just says that when you build for us, with us, by us, the room can still fill, the conversations can still go deep, if not deeper. And I feel the connections compound differently. And it's not just sentiment to me, it's truly data. And every room like this one that we're building is a case for why cultural infrastructure is not a nice to have, it's a need to have because we think about things differently. No matter what intersection that you sit at, we receive information differently. We've had different barriers, different obstacles. And I don't care what anyone else says. Like, we have to help each other really bridge those gaps instead of more maybe of like a crabs in a barrel function. So it's this to me is my life's mission, my life's alignment. And that is what Melanincon means to me.
That's dope and great to hear because one of the main things I beat this nail with a hammer every time I speak. One of the main things I noticed in DC when I moved there after college in 2017 was that it's all these people, all these organizations that don't collaborate, that don't nurture the ecosystem of Black excellence that we have here in DC. This crowd is over there. This crowd is over there. This
Mm,
crowd is over there. And I use it like musicians. I use the analogy for musicians.
yeah.
Uh, we have different musical festivals here in DC, but there's a musician on every corner. We don't have to wait for a major uh Live Nation joint to come here to have these joints. You can get 10 musicians and go
Mhm.
on U Street, go on H Street, and you can literally pull up to a space, a park, a recreational park, and
Mhm.
have your concert. But I just feel that a lot of things is too money driven, rather than ecosystem driven. And I always tell people from my standpoints, I have people currency, and I do very
Mhm.
well when it comes to like creating people. I always tell people if you stop worrying about that aspect of the people or
Mhm.
the funding, it'll come because it's enough money for all us to eat. Like like maybe you don't get the money this time around on this event. You get it on the next event. They don't get it next time. But you will never know because you never nurture that connection. And everything I do, my life goal, everything I've done here in DC is about bringing those networks together, putting those same people in the room. Because the last thing I would say is one of the highlights of recent years is my 2023 Melanincon, the inaugural one. A young lady who is a first-time homeowner brought that home from a real estate young lady who was just starting out. And that was her first home she sold. And that was the first home she brought.
I love
But they
that.
met at our gala.
Yes,
So it's
I love
those
that.
stories that keep us going. Like you said, like know your vitamin, and
Yes.
that is our goal.
Mhm.
Not to get on a soapbox, but
No, go
uh,
on it.
for the
But that,
people that's going to replay this back, our community, your community, where can these people find you? Tap in to learn what you got going on. I know you mentioned the Substack. Like where they can get more information and learn about you.
yeah, so I on LinkedIn, most social channels, it's I am Mia Staples. You find me on LinkedIn at Mia Staples. I'm pretty consistent. I have a Substack called the Partnership RX, which you can also find on any of those channels. And each of those, that's where I share frameworks, I dissect partnership failures and wins. And honestly, I just think out loud about what it actually takes to build at the intersection of culture and capital. So if any of those things interest you, send me a direct message, tell me what you're building. I actually do read everything and I respond to the ones that are serious. So, but I'll be honest, one place you might could really get me is threads because I'm a threadaholic, baby.
I am a threadaholic. People
I'm
do
a
not even
threadaholic.
understand the
I'm
safe
like,
space
it's
of
like
threads.
MySpace for me. I'm just on there.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Not to
No
fit, like that's
algorithms,
telling my
nothing. I
age,
just talk.
but I just talk. I'm just yapping.
I love it. Well, on the behalf of Melancon and myself, I appreciate you for joining our webinar series, and it's impactful. I, for one, is the one of the people that have learned greatly from what you had to share, and I know everybody that's going to play this back that have chimed in also learned from you, and we're appreciative. Thank you, and thank
Yes,
you, and
ma'am.
Amazon. Mhm.
Thank you, Donovan. Thank you so much.
You all have a blessed night. You hell.